You know that guy who's never online? No selfies, no stories, no living my best life posts. While you're checking your phone 43 times a day, he's not. And here's what pisses everyone off. He's calmer than you, more focused than you, probably more successful than you. Why? Neuroscience just confirmed something wild. The less you exist online, the more power you have in real life. Your brain literally works better when you disappear digitally. And the people who figured this out, they're not sharing it online because they're too busy actually winning. Let me show you the psychology they don't want you to know. And your brain? It's exhausted. But here's what nobody's telling you. The most successful mentally healthy people you know have something in common. They're barely online. And there's actual neuroscience behind why that works. Look, we need to talk about what's actually happening to your brain. Research from 2025 shows that high levels of digital consumption, especially social media, are directly linked to increased anxiety, depression, and loneliness. But here's the part that'll piss you off. You're not weak. You're not addicted because you lack willpower. These apps are literally designed to keep you hooked. Features like Reels and short-form videos are crafted specifically to trap you in endless loops of mindless scrolling. They're not entertainment companies, they're attention brokers. And your attention? That's the product they're selling. Psychologists call it attention residue, the mental clutter that gets left behind when you're constantly switching between apps, texts, and notifications. Your brain wasn't built for this. The average American spends 4 hours and 37 minutes on their phone every day. That's 70 days per year. 70 days of your life, gone, every year. And here's the kicker. 86% of Gen Z across the US and Europe are actively trying to reduce their screen time. Because deep down, everybody knows something's wrong. So what happens when you actually pull back? When you go minimal online? The psychology is wild. When you reduce your online presence, 3 things happen in your brain. First, cognitive load drops. Your working memory has limited capacity. When you're constantly bombarded with digital information, you overload this capacity, leading to mental fatigue and increased stress. Think of it like RAM on a computer. Too many programs running, everything slows down. Digital minimalism closes those programs. It frees up cognitive resources, allowing for clearer thinking, improved decision-making, and enhanced problem-solving. Suddenly, you can actually think again. Second, FOMO dies. Psychologists now use the term cyber FOMO, fear of missing out amplified by technology. As we scroll through curated posts of others' lives, we become convinced we're falling behind. But here's what happens when you step back. You stop comparing, you stop performing, you stop living for an audience that doesn't actually exist. 43% of people who embrace digital minimalism reported noticeable reductions in anxiety and depression symptoms, because they're not drowning in everyone else's highlight reel anymore. Third, real focus returns. Studies show that even just having your smartphone near you, without actively using it, reduces your available cognitive capacity. Just its presence makes you dumber. But when you go minimal, your brain can enter states of deep focus that foster creativity, problem-solving, and meaningful work. You accomplish more in less time because you're not constantly context switching. This is why the most productive people you know aren't chronically online. They're protecting their attention like it's their most valuable asset. Because it is. Here's the paradox nobody talks about. Social media promised connection. Instead, it delivered isolation. A systematic review found that individuals who are heavily involved in social media are 70% more likely to experience depressive symptoms. 70%. The more connected you are online, the more alone you actually feel. But when you minimize your digital presence, 22% of people who practice digital minimalism designated tech-free zones in their homes, and those spaces became environments that encourage genuine conversation and real presence. Real connection returned, not through a screen, through eye contact, through actual conversation. And your sleep? Blue light from screens disrupts your body's production of melatonin. When you reduce evening screen time, you sleep better, and better sleep improves everything from mood to cognitive function. You wake up sharper, clearer, actually rested. Here's what I want you to understand. You're not missing out by being less online. You're reclaiming your life. The time you spent scrolling, that was time stolen from building something real, learning something valuable, connecting with someone who actually matters. Cal Newport, the computer science professor who popularized digital minimalism, put it this way: it's not about rejecting technology. It's about building a balanced, intentional relationship with it. Use technology as a tool. Don't let it use you. So what does a minimal online presence actually look like? It's not disappearing. It's not becoming a hermit. It's being intentional. You post when you have something worth saying. Not because the algorithm demands content. You check messages once or twice a day. not every 5 minutes. You follow 10 accounts that actually teach you something, not 500 that just drain your energy. Research participants who underwent 30-day digital declutters reported increased clarity about which tools genuinely added value to their lives. Most discovered they needed about 10% of what they were using. The rest? Noise. Here's what happens when you actually do this. Your friends notice. They say you seem more present, more focused, more here. Your work improves because you're not fracturing your attention across 17 different platforms. And your mental health? Less screen time means less exposure to social comparison, anxiety triggers, and the perpetual news cycle that keeps your nervous system on high alert. You become calmer, steadier, more yourself. The people who matter most don't care about your online presence anyway. They care if you show up in real life. And that's what going minimal gives you back, the capacity to actually be there. Not just physically present with your face in a screen. Actually there. So here's your move. This week, delete one app you know is stealing your time, turn off all non-essential notifications, and see what happens when you stop performing online and start living offline. Subscribe to Core Creed if you want more truth about how to actually build a meaningful life, not fake motivation, real psychology, real solutions, less online, more alive. That's the trade. Comment below. How many hours a day are you actually on your phone? And if this was real, hit share. Let's see who's brave enough to admit they're addicted.